Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to crack a classic computer science puzzle. And it's one of those problems that once you see it, you start noticing it everywhere, from trying to optimize your inventory in a video game to a huge company trying to figure out the most efficient way to ship its products. We're talking about the knapsack problem.
Okay, let's just dive right in. Picture this. You've pulled it off, the heist of the century. You're standing in a vault just packed with treasures. But here's the catch. You only brought one bag, one knapsack, and it can only hold so much weight. Now, every item has its own weight and its own value. So how do you possibly choose the perfect combination of items to get the absolute maximum value without, your bag breaking? That right there, that's the heart of our challenge today.
So, here's our game plan. First, we're going to lay out the rules of the problem, get really formal about it. Then, we'll look at the most obvious way to solve it and see why it's a total trap. After that, we'll get into the really clever stuff, a strategy called dynamic programming. We're going to build the solution step by step, and then, at the very end, we'll see how this whole thing applies to way more than just a simple heist.
All right, section 1. Before we can even think about solving this puzzle, we gotta know the rules of the game. Let's put a proper name to our little heist scenario. Officially, this is called the 0-1 knapsack problem. Now that 0-1 part, that's the single most important rule. It means for any item in that vault, a gold bar, a diamond, whatever, you have a simple binary choice. You either take the whole thing, that's the 1, or you leave it completely behind, that's the 0. No in between, you can't just shave off a piece of a painting.
And this is a really key distinction. See, if you could take parts of items, like say it was all gold dust and you could just scoop up as much as you want, that would be the fractional knapsack problem. And honestly, that's way easier to solve. You just keep taking the stuff with the highest value per pound until your bag is full. But our 0-1 problem, it's so much trickier, because that huge, super valuable diamond might also be super heavy, forcing you to make some really tough trade-offs.
Okay, so on to section 2. With these indivisible items, what's the first thing you'd think of to find the best mix? Let's check out the most obvious solution and find out why it's such a terrible idea.
The most direct method, right, is just to try everything. Literally every single possibility. Combination 1, just the necklace. Combination 2, just the painting. Combination 3, the necklace and the painting. You get the idea. For every single combo, you check if it's under the weight limit and you add up the value. Whichever one gives you the highest value at the end, that's your winner. It sounds foolproof, but it has a massive fatal flaw. It leads to this. This number is 2 to the power of 60. And that's how many combinations you'd have to check if there were just 60 items in that vault. To put that in perspective, a super fast modern computer would still be trying to calculate this long after we're all gone. This kind of exponential growth makes this brute force idea completely and utterly impractical. So yeah, trying every combination, it's a total non-starter. It just collapses under its own weight. It's a computational dead end. We need something more elegant, something way more efficient. It is definitely time to work smarter, not harder.
And that brings us to section 3, a much smarter strategy. We're going to use this really powerful technique called dynamic programming.
So what is this magic? It's called dynamic programming, or DP for short. And you should think of it less like a single specific algorithm and more like a whole new way of thinking about problems. The core idea is you take a giant, complex problem and you chop it up into a bunch of smaller, easier to solve subproblems. You solve all those little puzzles first, and here's the key. You save their answers so you never ever have to calculate them again. Now, DP only works its magic on problems that have these two special properties. First is what we call optimal substructure. All that means is that the best solution for the whole big knapsack is built out of the best solutions for smaller knapsacks. And second, overlapping subproblems. This just means that while you're working, you find yourself needing to solve the exact same little problems over and over. DP is smart. It avoids redoing all that work by remembering the answer.
And this right here, this is the payoff. The brute force method on the left, that's the one that grows exponentially. It becomes impossible almost right away. But dynamic programming on the right is so much more efficient. Its speed depends on the number of items and the bag's capacity. And trust me, this is a monumental leap. It turns an impossible problem into one we can actually solve.
So how do we actually do this? Welcome to section 4. The heart of the dynamic programming solution is to build a simple grid, or a table.
This is where we're going to neatly store the answers to all those little subproblems, building our way up to the one big final solution.
This is it. This is the fundamental decision that happens at every single point in the process. As we look at each item one by one for every possible weight capacity all the way up to our max, we ask this one simple question. And the answer is always going to be one of two things. It's either the best value we could get without this new item, or it's the value of this new item plus whatever the best value was for the space we have left over. We just take whichever one is better.
So we start by setting up this grid. The rows, those are the items we're considering, starting with none at all. The columns, that's every single possible weight for our knapsack, from 0 all the way up to our max, which is 5 in this example. And that first row and first column are all zeros. That makes sense, right? With 0 items or 0 capacity, the max value you can get is, well, 0.
And now the magic starts. We fill it in row by row, left to right. Let's look at that cell for item 2 with a bag capacity of 5. The algorithm asks, what's better? Option 1, we don't include item 2. In that case, the best value is 3. We just look at the cell right above it. Option 2, we do include item 2. That gives us a value of 4, plus whatever the best value was for the leftover space. Since the item weighs 3, we had 2 units of space left, and we look that up, it's 3. So 4 plus 3 is 7. 7 is better than 3, so we put a 7 in the cell.
And the algorithm just keeps doing this simple check for every single cell, always building on the perfect answers it's already found and stored in the cells before it. Then, once the whole table is filled out, boom! The answer to our original, big, complicated problem. The maximum possible value for a knapsack of capacity 5, considering all our items, is just sitting right there in the bottom right corner. The answer is 7.
Okay, section 5. This is great. We know the maximum value we can steal is 7, but our job's not done. A master thief needs to know which items to grab to get that value. And it turns out the grid we just built holds that secret too.
It's actually pretty simple. We just work backward from our final answer in that bottom right cell. First, you compare its value to the cell right above it. If the numbers are different, that means the item for this row was crucial. It was included. So you add it to your loot list. If the numbers are the same, it means this item wasn't included, so you just move on. You repeat this process, moving up the grid until you get all the way back to the top.
And when you follow that path back on our grid, the algorithm reveals the perfect loot. It tells us to grab item 2, which has a weight of 3 and a value of 4, and item 1, which has a weight of 2 and a value of 3. You put them together, what do you get? Their total weight is exactly 5, our max capacity, and their total value is 7, the maximum value we discovered. The heist is a complete success.
And that brings us to our final section. Okay, this is a fun puzzle, but why did we spend all this time on a fictional heist? Well, it's because the strategy we just used has absolutely massive implications out there in the real world.
The thing you have to understand is that this exact same logic, breaking a big problem down, solving the small pieces, and building up to the best solution, it's a cornerstone of modern computer science. It's used to align genetic sequences in bioinformatics, to find the most efficient paths for your internet data to travel, and to build the best possible investment portfolios in the world of finance. In the end, the knapsack problem teaches us a really powerful way to think. When you're faced with a complex decision, something with a ton of moving parts, don't try and solve the whole thing at once. Break it down into the smallest possible questions you can. Find the best answers to those simple questions, and then use those answers to build your way up to a brilliant overall solution. It proves that sometimes the smartest path forward isn't the most obvious one. It's the one you build yourself, one piece at a time.